Здравейте, вие гледате предаването без формат.
Hello and welcome to No Format. This week's topic is Close Encounters of a Third Kind. We will hear the story of Kate Thorvaldsen from Norway. She has had unusual experiences and a strange feeling all her life. She thinks she has been abducted by aliens and has had a number of symmetrical implants all over her body. She remembers not only her own birth, but all her previous incarnations as well. Will you believe her story? Decide for yourself.
Your first strange experience is when you were 3 years old. Would you tell us more details about that event?
I remember that it was very late at night and my mother, she has been taking me into the bedroom and putting me to sleep. But I wasn't tired. And I remember that I was standing in the crib and looking against the big windows that we have. And we were living on the second floor, so you could see the black sky and the stars, and you could not see any cars with the lights and all that. That was gone. So yeah, I was standing there looking at this black sky, and suddenly out of nowhere, these little gray creatures were coming just through the wall from the left side of me. It's difficult to explain because there was no sound, nothing. It was just like it was, yeah, gliding through the wall. And then he was gliding in front, up to the front of the bed. And then he was stopping there looking at me. And of course, I was 2 years old. And I was like, ooh, blah, 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 blah. Tried to speak to him and say something. But I understood very fast that I didn't need to say anything, because we had the communication here instead. So yeah, we were just standing there and looking at each other. And he was giving me the feeling that he wanted to check if I was okay. So that was it. And then...
Do you remember, did they tell you something, or did you heard they in your mind something from them?
No, they were more giving me kind of feelings, pictures, feeling thing.
How these creatures look like? You say they are gray. For example, what was the way of your communication? You said feeling, most like feeling, not like words, right?
Yeah, they were giving me a good feeling, and they were giving me the feeling that they were checking if I was okay, but without words.
Did you share with your parents what happened about this strange situation, and what was the way? Maybe not when you were 3 years old, but after that, when you can talk with your parents.
After he disappeared, of course he disappeared the same way out, the same way where he was coming in, through the wall. And then, of course, he and the other one, was 2 of them, disappeared. They were hanging in front of the room, the windows first, and then they just zip, disappeared. And I remember I was telling my mother later, not about how they will look like, but Santa Claus. I was talking a lot about Santa Claus, because in my little mind I was thinking, oh, I have met Santa Claus. Because my mother, she has told me that Santa Claus was becoming soon, because we were very close to Christmas. So that was what I was believing.
What was your child reaction when you see the real Santa Claus?
Yeah, I think there was around 1 week later, my mother, she was picking me up on her arm, and she was carrying me into the TV room, because now I was going to meet Santa. And I was so looking forward to meeting Santa, but in the TV room it was a guy with a red suit, plastic face, false beard, and I was terrified, and I was screaming, and I was so angry. So yeah, that was not my Santa. And even my mother, she remembered that I was very angry and said, no, that is not my Santa. No.
What do you think, why these 2 creatures chose you when you was only 3 years old?
That's a big question. It sounds like a very small question, but it's a bigger answer.
What's the answer? The bigger one?
You can put that question together with why me? And that is that you must look at life in a bigger terms than we are normally doing. Because now, when we are born, we are thinking that, okay, we are born, we live, and then we die. And then for most people, that's enough. But the life view that I have, we are born, we live, we die, and then we repeat it again and again and again. So it depends on what you have been doing in your past lives So you have to look at everything in a bigger picture. So you can have been living here in the past life, or you can be living as one of them in the past lives. So yeah, as I said, it's a bigger picture for why they were connecting with me.
I heard that you remember even your birth.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
How you explain this to yourself? How can human remember its own birth?
It's difficult to explain, because then you have the big answer again. I think that the reason why I remember it, it was normal for me back in those days to remember it, but to explain why you remember it, that's more difficult. But when we are trying to talk about more the astrophysics or the quantum physics level and all this, then it's easier to explain, but that's a huge question.
Your next experience is when you were 8, right?
10 years.
10?
Yeah.
What happened then?
I was very outside of the rest of the community, because most of my life I have been different from others. I was growing up and I always was wondering what is different with me, because I was thinking that I was looking like everyone else and trying to be like everyone else, but still everyone was just stay away from us kind of way. So yeah, I was, when my mother and my sisters gone to bed at night, I was climbing up on the roof, sitting there looking at the stars and the moon, and someone out there, come down here and bring me back. I don't belong here. So for how long time I've been doing that, I don't know. So, but one evening, there was this big bright light just over me, and the next thing I remember is that suddenly I'm waking up in my bed next morning. So I was going under a hypnosis for this. So then we found out that there was this craft over me, the big light, and then in the next moment I'm in the craft and lying on the table. But what they exactly are doing, I'm not sure. But I remember that when I was coming back down, my nose was closed, so I lost the sense of smell. And yeah, then the day after, when I was coming to school, normally I was the quiet kid because everyone was picking on me. Now I was really giving them a good opportunity to really start bullying me, because now I was starting to talk about other civilizations, life forms, planets, universe, all this stuff. And they was just, what? So they stopped bullying me. I think that was too much for them, so they just left me alone.
What's your explanation about these events? About especially that one? They want to check how you feel at that moment? They want to check you?
No, not in this moment, no. For me, later I have found out that I'm not sure in what time in life that I got the implants. But I have a feeling that I got the implants in my nose at that point.
You make picture of these events, how they look like, what your friends think about that when you show them the pictures.
They thought it was strange. So I was a typical 10-year-old girl living and breeding horses. So I was making pictures of horses every day too. So it's a big contrast from horses to men with big black eyes and bald head, and yeah, very different.
Your last close encounters of third kind was when you were 28 years old. And what happened in that cabin?
Yeah, I was hiring a cabin in the mountains of Norway. I was supposed to stay there for 2 months because I was working on a book project. And I like it very quiet and shall not see any other person at all. It shall be so quiet that you can hear the silenceness. That's nice. So yeah, I was really enjoying staying up there. But one morning I was waking up and it was like I can see a big difference from a pillow mark to a mark if something was made of metal, if it was attached to your body and the kind of mark it leaves. So it was like a hook kind of thing like this over here. So I had very sharp marks over my here on my eyelids. And I had this gray, greenish liquid that was dried from my eye, and my nose was also very, very sore. So my first idea was, oh, I'm getting sick. And it's not a good time to be sick alone in the mountains or something like that. So, but when the day went by, I was fine. I wasn't getting sick, so I didn't thinking more about it. I was just continuing with my book, making the fire, making food, all this stuff. But when the evening was coming, I was like a stressed animal in a cage.
Why?
Because I knew, my whole body told me that something had happened, but I couldn't remember what. So I think I was reading the same magazine 20 times the next night because I was afraid to fall asleep. So yeah, I was really stressed out. So the next day I was able to connect with the people that owned the cabin. So they was coming up and they was bringing me back down to the society. And when I came back to the society, then I could really see the big difference, the change in me. Because in the cabin there were no electricity. And now I was back where there is electricity. So when I was taking my mobile phone charger into the wall, that will make the same sound as if the microphone is really screaming. All of you know how that sounds, looks like. It's bad.
What do you think about that event in the cabin?
Later on, since I didn't know what was going on, then we were visiting the hypnotist from the UFO Norway that they were using. Then they found out that when I was lying to bed, this big bright light was coming into the room, and there was one of the tall greys that was coming first. And it was strange because normally they look like they are naked kind of way, but this one looks like that he had this transparent skirt kind of thing. There was no cut from here, but it's just like a part of the body. And then he was bringing me into the fireplace room, and I was like this floating in the air. And then I had the 2-3 of the other smaller, the same greys as I was visiting me the first time. So then they were putting this helmet on my head, and then I can also see the claws kind of thing that was holding the helmet on the right place. So, and then they also had these kind of needles that were sticking in my ears. Looks like forks. It sounds like a horror movie, I mean, I know it. But when I come to that point, I remember exactly what happened the first time when I was 10 years old. So then I just told them in my mind, please don't let me remember anything more. And from that moment, everything was completely gray. So the hypnotist guy, he was working on me for 2 more hours, but they couldn't break it.
Why they need to erase that things from your mind?
No, I asked them to erase.
Why?
I didn't want, for me that was enough to remember at that point when I saw that thing.
You were scared?
Yeah, I guess so. So that's why it was enough. So I asked them to just don't let me remember anything more.
Did you understand anything more from the hypnosis?
No.
How did you understand about the implants in your body? And do you have an explanation about these 28 implants?
Over the years, I have heard a lot of people talking about implants. I'm actually quite lazy about this subject because I'm actually not interested in the UFO topic. It's just a part of my life. So I was thinking that maybe I have, maybe I don't. I don't bother. But then I have a very good friend in the US, Sid Goldberg. He's a TV producer over there, and he was working on a case with implants. And then he tells me that, why don't you buy one of these little tiny neodymium magnets? Because I had this, sometimes you can feel it and other times you don't. It's like a triangle-shaped object in my neck. So I think, okay, I can buy one of those and see if it sticks. And of course, it's a big difference from thinking that you maybe have an implant till it actually is sticking. It's a, wow, oops. It's a, yeah, strange feeling. You must experiencing it to understand it, I think. And then my other friend that was helping me, he said, since your nose has always been closed, why don't you take the magnets and put it on your nose too, to see if it sticks, just for fun. And it stuck there too. So I think, okay, this is getting, So yeah, we have a little research party all over. So I have 2 here, both sides here, here, and 5 in the front. Then they are following the spine all the way down, and 2 more in back here. And when some of the few in the back was getting deactivated, because the reason why I know that few of them was deactivated was because that we were going to put them on again and make new pictures. And then new was getting activated instead, that wasn't active in the first place. So that's why I'm saying it's now 32 instead of 28.
I understand. You said were there. Is there any scar of this?
No. No scar.
Why these places are so special? You said nose.
For me, I don't have the whole answer for this, but it looks like they are following the energy system. But I also have 3 of them that are placed under my heart area. And I have problems with my family. They have a lot of heart conditions. So I think that perhaps they have been putting it there to help me in some way. I don't know.
Have you ever think that this might have something similar with yoga chakras?
No, it's not following my chakras either, because I think that since they are on other sides, other places too.
What are the scientific tests that you have done to understand what is in your body, what's happening with your body?
That was also through UFO Norway. They have these men that are working as a chiropractors, and he also had this X-ray machine in his office. Of course, he wanted to be anonymous because of his reputation and work and everything. So, but he was letting me in and to do the X-rays. So on the X-rays, you could actually find the little tiny dots here and there that was not supposed to be there. And I also asked him that in your education, does your education tells you that is it possible for magnets to stick on the human body? And he looks at me, no. Okay, put it on. And he said, okay.
What is the shape of that implants? Are they with different shape or is the same?
No, it just looked like of course, I guess that if it's possible to take the X-rays that with even higher resolutions, then we probably will get an even better picture. On the picture, it looks like they're just like a little, like a rice, something, or yeah, but they're much tinier than a rice, but it looks like a black.
Did you do MRI scan, and what are the results if you've done?
No, I'm not done any MRI, no.
You are worried that maybe something wrong will happen if you pass that test?
No, I'm not. But in Norway, you need a lot of stuff. You need to have a very bad medical condition if you're going to the doctor and ask for an MRI, because there are long waiting lists and all this stuff. You can't just say that, okay, I want an MRI because of this and this. They will just look at you and, yeah, no, it doesn't work like that in Norway.
I understand. Why you don't want any of these implants to be removed and tests?
The reason is that normally on other abductees, the implants, they are randomly placed. And if mine was randomly placed, I would say, okay, go ahead, figure it out. But since all of them are symmetrical placed, I will not touch it, because I know they are there for a reason. And if they also are there for a reason to help me, why should I try to mess with that?
So you worry that you don't want to change the equation, that they are equal.
Yeah.
I understand. According to you, what is the purpose of the implants?
I'm not sure. I don't have the full picture there either, but I have a feeling that they are. There was one friend of mine that he was saying it as a joke, but in the same time it actually made sense. He was joking that, oh, they are placed on you, you look like a radio antenna or something like that. And I said, perhaps, because most of my life I have been able to download information, the matrix, from the matrix very easily, and I never needed to put myself into meditation or do anything to get it. So a lot of stuff that is much more easier to do.
What you see in the matrix? Do you see something in the matrix, or how it looks like that matrix?
Oh, I can't answer that because that picture is so big. You want to know how the matrix looks like, or yeah. The reason why I can tell you that is because I had that experience just last week when I was doing my yoga. Because then imagine if you can see all the stuff here, but you are seeing it more like the energy field in everything, and there are different kind of density in the energy from different kind of objects. Of course, this is difficult to explain because I don't have all the technical English to explain that correctly. But I can give you another example. 2 years ago, I was sitting out in the backyard and relaxing, and then I suddenly seeing these white dots on the ground in front of the tree. I was thinking, okay, what is that? And then you can see the white dots starting to move up through the tree and through the branches and out to the leaves. So I was actually sitting there watching the energy and life from Earth going up through against the tree and out into the leaves. That was very fascinating to watch. That's also just a part of the Matrix.
Did you choose when to watch the Matrix, or it just happened without you?
It just happens. Yeah, I don't need to do anything.
Okay, did somebody connect with you? Did somebody told you when you are inside the Matrix? Do you get some information?
No.
You just see the stuff difference?
Yeah, this is just films. Most of the time it's just films that are happening in front of my eyes, suddenly here and there. And I think that is just a part of me understanding the Matrix even more and more, since I'm working on the astrophysics book. So
I'm sure that after all that you've passed, your life and perceptions have changed a lot. How? Did your life get different when we have to see it with mine and the normal people?
Yeah, I think so. Because when you are looking at yourself as more as an internal person instead of a limited one, then you will all the time try to see how far can you expand your mind all the time, what is new that you can get information of, and that makes life very interesting. I think that most people, they are walking around, they can see a tree and, okay, that's a tree. But if you could actually see the life force going into the tree, I guess you will having bigger problems to just cut it. I mean, it's just an example. So when you are seeing what life actually is, what a miracle it actually is, life is getting so much more exciting and fascinating.
How you understand about it when your friend told you to try to put a magnet, is that right?
Yeah.
Did your story interested somebody, for example, doctors or militaries or governments?
I try to keep a low profile as possible. That's what I did before. And because I was a little afraid to be a guinea pig, but also the government are also like this, that it's easy to just, she's crazy or she's stupid or something like that. But I think that over the years, when you are presenting the stuff in the right way, I think it's funny when instead of me chasing the professors are the ones that are chasing me. So, and I'm doing astrophysics and quantum physics and all this kind of stuff, but I have no education at all. I can no formula, but they are still chasing me, and I think that's very interesting. And I can also prove that I'm not a copycat, because a lot of the astrophysics stuff that I was starting to write about back in '93, a lot of the scientists are starting to talk about now. And I have witnesses from colleges, universities, and people around that my stuff is genuine and from that age.
Did somebody, from where you get that information about astrophysics and
the information is here, it's everywhere, it's in the Matrix.
You just feel it, you don't hurt stuff, you feel it.
No, it's like you are seeing it like a film in front of you. It's difficult to explain because sometimes you can see it like a transparent film in front of you, and other times it's like you are a part of it.
Do you know other cases for people like you with implants?
If I have met? Mm-hmm. A few. Few people with implants, yes.
Did they have so many?
2 or 3 implants randomly placed, because I have been, over the last few years, I've been asking people in Brazil, the US, and several other countries that have been working with implants, that do you have found someone else that is something like me? And they say no. So I'm still looking.
But did they have the same feelings like you, the same events like you, or their story are different?
Their story are different.
When was your last encounter? That when you was 20 years old, or after that there was more?
For the close encounters was when I was in the cabin. If that has happened after that, I will not remember. But I have plenty of times where I've been seeing them dancing around in the sky, or making themselves some kind of way, hello. And I'm not talking about that I'm seeing a cloud that looks like a UFO. No, 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 that's not me. I can give you a good example. I was with a friend of mine, and also from UFO Norway, and we have been sitting and talking about this subject for many, many hours. So it was very, very late at night, and I said, you know what, I had to go home. So I remember I was going out from the door, opening the door, and I was feeling that someone was watching me, but then I was saying, just been talking too much about the subject, so I just forget it. So then I get myself in the car, start driving home, and there is a part of the highway that there was no light. And in that moment, I'm going to put on the long light of the car. Then it's like you're hearing these clear messages coming like this in my head, turn off the light. And before my reasonable me can say that, oh, I can't do that because then I will not see the road. I'm doing it, I'm turning the light off, but of course I'm increasing my speed. And in the next moment, I see this big light. I guess that all of you have seen the Hestalon pictures. This light is the same kind of light, but is much, much bigger, and is filling the whole, if you are thinking about the car, the window of the car, so it's filling the whole thing, and is dancing back and forward. And when it has moved this place, you can still see the light from the tail, and when it's at the end, when it's gone, it's like you are looking at it's like a blitz that is still there, that you can see are still on the sky. So it was huge, big. So I was driving there very slowly, and I was, more, give me more.
You sound that you are not scared of that event.
No.
When normal people heard you, for example, for me, I would be very scared from that what happened to me.
Fear can be so many different things, because fear is normally coming from when we are experiencing something that we don't know what is. That's normal. But of course I have been afraid too, but when I find out what was going on, then it's okay. It's like, I can make an example. A lot of we human, we are taking animals and we are mapping them. Of course they are terrified, but we are just helping them.
You said that you have meetings with poltergeists. Would you share that with us?
Oh, that is a big subject, because that I could write a whole book about it. Just
Okay,
things like that.
We have time.
I can tell you, I think that for a lot of people, I think it would be very scary, but for me, I think it was funny, and in that moment was actually comforting. I remember I was very sad, and I was going to bed at night, and I remember I was lying on my side, and then suddenly something was coming into the bedroom. I couldn't see it, but you could really feel it very strongly. But it was very physical, the thing that was sitting down on the bed beside you and looking at me. And I was lying there looking at that something I couldn't see, but in the next moment, it was like my consciousness was up under the roof and looking down on me and on the person that was sitting there. And then in the next moment, I'm back in myself again. And okay, I think there was a woman, a little bigger woman. And in the next moment, then this thing is getting up and then is lying behind me in bed. So if you are lying in bed and someone is taking the blanket over you, you will feel that you are like in a cocoon. It's almost like that. That was the feeling, because she was that person was lying in full length behind me, like that. And I was thinking, okay, if I can't get any comfort in this life, it's nice to get a comfort from the other side. So,
when you can understand when poltergeists come to visit you and your special creatures come to visit you, is there a difference between the feelings?
Yeah, it's a difference. Yeah,
What is the difference? Maybe in your soul, in your
yeah, you just feel it. There is a big difference. Yeah, of course, not when you say poltergeist. For me, I think poltergeist, when people talk about poltergeist films, they are horror movies, and for me, they are just how to say it, dead people, or the memory that is still there. But sometimes memories or the other souls can be connected with you. There's a big picture here too. So yeah.
We start to talk about dead people. Do you believe in rebirth?
Yeah.
How much time you have been rebirth?
Oh, I don't know. Many times.
Only like human?
No. Also like a little gray.
And you remember all that?
No, I don't. I just remember that I have been one of them, but I don't remember exactly what I've been doing or where I was, or when someone asked me, where did you come from, or where did they come from? And I said, you know what? Does it matter? Because we are coming from everywhere in this universe.
Most people want to know why they are born, what are their mission. Do you know what's your mission?
Yeah.
What's your mission?
This time is to, with my books, especially the next one, is to more try to explain the connection with us and the matrix, the universe and everything, and for the humans to understand their place in it all and why we are important.
You said that you are hybrid.
Yeah.
Between what?
No, I think that there's a mix. Of course, it's on a DNA level. Normally that is a result when they have been interacting with your family for generations, because I'm not the first one. My mother, she has seen them, my grandfather has seen them, so it's a generation thing.
So your family understands you very good, your mother understands you?
Yeah.
Do you think about yourself like that your next step of human evolution?
Sometimes I do, yes, because a lot of times I experience, let's say, the way that you can connect to the matrix, how you can get the information, all kind of stuff all the time. And I think that one thing is that I'm doing it right now without doing anything. I don't need to do a meditation or anything like that. And I think that all humans can do like this. So I guess it's just a matter of, I think that when people are starting to understand who they are and what they are capable to do, then they will open their minds up for new ideas. And when you open your mind for new ideas, new things will come. Because most of the people, they are living on repeat. They are thinking the same thoughts every day. And yeah, I think that most of the time a human needs a big crisis in their life. It's only then when they are thinking about why me, why is life like this, and thinking about the bigger issues or the bigger things in life. For me to think about the bigger things in life is a daily, normal thing.
What has to be the human of the future?
I think that if we as a race should survive on this planet, we have to, I think it's necessary for the human race to see what life actually is. Because as long as we are cutting ourselves from the rest of the world as superiors, we are getting stupid instead and destroying our world.
Okay, thank you very much for that interview.
Thank you.